Hi, TechNation under John Wallace here. In today's Tools of the Trade live demo, we will feature IMT Analytics Managing Director Daniel Benz and the FlowAnalyser PRO, IMT Analytics flagship benchtop gas flow analyzer, designed for biomedical engineers, independent service providers, and medical equipment manufacturers. Thank you to today's sponsor, IMT Analytics, a world leader in the manufacture, distribution, and service of gas flow analyzers. These high precision medical class 1 gas flow and pressure measurement instruments are capable of testing a wide range of medical devices, such as ventilators and anesthesia machines, oxygen flow meters, pressure gauges, and suction devices. For more information, you can visit imtanalytics.com. All right, it's trivia time. I have what I think is going to be an easy trivia question for you today to try to win that multi-tool that we give away. Which city hosts the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade? Which city hosts the Thanksgiving Parade? You can submit your answer using the questions feature on the dashboard, and we will announce a winner a little later in the webinar. I want to remind everyone that today's presentation is eligible for 1 CE credit from the ACI. 1 hour after the end of today's broadcast, you will receive an emailed survey. Completing that survey will grant access to a certificate that you can download and print from your computer. We will wrap up today's broadcast with a Q&A session. Please note that the webinar dashboard includes a questions feature. You can submit your questions for our presenter at any time during the demo, and we will get to those after the prepared webinar. Okay, I'm excited to learn more about the FlowAnalyser PRO. And Daniel, you may begin whenever you are ready.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Sean, for this kind introduction. Big thanks to MD Publishing for hosting today's session. And most importantly, thank you so much for joining us today. We know our schedules are busy, so we truly appreciate you taking the time to spend this hour with us. I'm excited to tell you all about our flagship benchtop gas flow analyzer, the FlowAnalyser PRO today. With the FlowAnalyser PRO, you can confidently test all types of ventilators from adult to pediatric and high frequency, as well as a wide variety of other medical devices producing gas flow and pressure. Its highest accuracy, versatility, and advanced automation features makes it the perfect companion, a perfect choice for biomedical engineers looking for the ultimate all-in-one testing solution capable of covering any medical gas flow measurement needs they might have. Paired with our OR703 multi-gas analyzer, it even transforms into a full-blown anesthesia machine tester. The FlowAnalyser PRO, which we are going to cover today, is our top-of-the-line benchtop gas flow analyzer. We also have our Citrix mobile gas flow analyzer product line, spearheaded by our Citrix H5, which you can see in this picture here. And we also demonstrated that one last year in a Tools of the Trade session. So I'm going to share a QR code to that one at the end of the session. Then we also have our so-called FlowAnalyser PF300 product line. Some of you may know that there is also private labeled versions of that one from BC Group as PFC3000 and Rigel Medical as Ventest series. As some of you might know, the PF300 series consists of 3 different models: a standard one, a vacuum pressure one, and a low pressure model. In the FlowAnalyser PRO, which we're going to cover today, we combined all these 3 models into one device and added several advanced additional features. Before I start our demonstration, I would love to hear a little bit from you. So please take a moment to participate in the first poll and let us know what ventilator test equipment you currently use.
All right, great, Daniel. The poll question is up now. We're getting some results in. The question is, what ventilator test equipment do you currently use? And you can select one or more of the following options: IMT Analytics product, Fluke product, PSI product, other product, or none. So we're waiting for those questions to come in. Sorry, those answers to come in. And now we have the results. Looks like 50% use a TSI product, 44% use Fluke, and 22% use IMT.
All right. Thank you so much. Interesting. Thank you for your participation. So happy to see that we have some loyal customers here in the session as well. And I hope we can win some potential new customers with this presentation today. So without any further ado, let's jump into the product demo. First, I would like to show you what comes with our FlowAnalyser Pro device. We offer the FlowAnalyser Pro as standalone unit and as two different, we call them test set. So I'm going to show you how it looks like. I'll switch my camera. So this is actually the case. It always comes in this nice transport case, so you can easily carry it around with you. And let's have a look what's in there. So I'm going to open it up here. So inside the case, you can see, of course, we have the device itself here. Then we also have a quick start guide and the calibration certificates. We have a power supply, power cord over here. Then we have a adapter set with all kind of fittings you might need to connect your ventilator or whatever other medical device you're testing to our FlowAnalyser Pro. Then we have a USB cable up here, which is included to connect it to your computer. And we have a protection filter for the flow channel. We also offer it as test set ventilation. We call that test set ventilation. Then it includes this smart lung adult, where you can simulate different compliance levels here with this slider, different resistances with turning this connector up here, and also simulate leakages with this leakage screw over here. Then we also offer it as a test set called ventilation and anesthesia. Then if you order that, you will of course get the device with the same test lung and additionally this OR 703 multi-gas analyzer, which we're going to discuss a little later in the session in more detail. All right, let me switch back here and show you the device itself. So this is the front view of the FlowAnalyser Pro. As you can see, we have some ports here around. We have some physical buttons as well, and we have a big touchscreen interface to operate it. I can switch on the device with this power button here. Just gonna switch that. And while it is starting up, let's check out the different ports we have available here. So the main port you would be using if you test ventilators is our main flow channel. That's the one here. This is going to be used for like the vast majority of the applications. It is a bidirectional flow channel. It runs through the whole device and can measure flow rates in the range of plus and minus 300 liters per minute with an industry-leading accuracy of 1.65% or 40 milliliters per minute. We call all our devices all-in-one devices, so that's actually our concept. The reason is that everything else you typically need to measure in ventilation applications is also being measured right inside this main flow channel. So we are not only measuring flow here, but also the gas pressure, temperature, humidity, and oxygen of the gas mix. It's all measured inside this channel. So all the compensations for the flow and volume calculations are then made automatically, and there is no need to tee in any sensor or pressure lines here. We will see that later when we set up the ventilator. Right next to this main flow channel port, we have another flow channel, and this is called the ultra-low flow channel. This is mainly used for anesthesia machine applications where it comes to measure tiny flow rates, typically in the range of couple of dozen milliliters per minute. The range of this port is plus minus 1 liter per minute with an accuracy of 1.65% or down to 10 milliliters per minute. Over here, we have our pressure ports. let's start on the right side here. This is our differential pressure measurement ports here with a range of plus or minus 250 millibar or centimeters of water. Then we have in the middle here a combined port for high pressure and vacuum. So you can measure a negative 14.5 psi to positive 145 psi. Means you can measure anything from vacuum pressure up to hospital line pressure. Then the last two ports here on the left side, these are our low differential pressure ports with a range of plus minus 10 millibar and an even higher accuracy in this measurement range. As you will see, there are small buttons next to each connector here. So we call them direct access buttons. So when we press them, for example, here for our differential pressure ports, when I press that one, that measurement shows up on the screen from that port. And it also shows me the range of the port right here. So this is actually a convenient shortcut as well as a built-in help to find the suitable port for your specific application. Let's have a look at the back side of the device on this slide here so that I don't have to take it away from the camera. On the back side, we can see the output of our flow channels. So here's the main flow channel output and the ultra low flow channel. As mentioned, they run through the whole device. And then we have some electrical connectors. We have the connector for our DC input here from our power supply. We have an Ethernet connector. There's a built-in web server we can access through Ethernet. Then we have an USB-A interface for software updates and data export. We have a digital trigger interface here, an external trigger input. Then we have an RS-232 interface to remote control the device and also to connect our OR703 sensor, which we're going to see later. And we have a second USB port here to connect the device to a computer. We have a software that can be used with the device, which I'm going to show you a little later as well. Also here you can see this is the battery cover. So the device has a built-in battery with up to 16 hours of runtime. Okay, let's have a closer look at the user interface of the device. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that you can see this a little better. Okay, so when you start up the FlowAnalyser Pro, this is actually what you see first. It's our main menu. You can see there are a total of 8 tiles: measurement, applications, calibration, data snapshot, profile, settings, statistics, and an about screen. Before we hook up a ventilator to the FlowAnalyser, let's prepare the device as we would do it in a real life scenario. So some of the ones of you that are familiar with using gas flow analyzers, probably you're familiar with that. Usually what we typically do before we start measuring is to perform a zero offset calibration. So to do that, probably you can guess it's in the tile calibrations. If I enter that one, I see in the middle here the possibility to start my zero pressure calibration. The device asks me to disconnect all the tubings, and then I can just start that from there. And as you can see, it's now running, and after a little while it was successful. So we can confirm here and leave this screen. Additionally, in this calibration screen, you can also perform a calibration of the built-in oxygen sensor and zero offset calibration of the OR703 multi-gas analyzer if one is connected. Then let's go back to the main menu with this button up here with the 8 tiles. You can get back and let's do some settings. Usually when you test a ventilator or another medical device, then you want to make sure that your settings are correct. So of course the settings are in the settings screen. We have 3 groups of settings here. The first group is called measurement. This is everything that is related to the measurement itself, like gas standard, gas type, and etc. Then we have a separate section for the trigger settings. And we have a section for all the other device settings like screen brightness, user interface, language, date and time, whatever else we can set up on the device. So for now, let's go into the measurement settings. And two things you typically need to set up here is gas type and gas standard. So I'm going to do that here. So my gas standard of the device that I have on the test here on my desk, I know from the service manual uses BTPS. So I'm just gonna click BTPS here and hit OK. And as gas type, I'm gonna select air O2 automatic because I'm gonna measure air mainly, but with the automatic, I can actually use the internal O2 sensor to determine the oxygen concentration in my gas mix. Then let's go back and enter the trigger settings here. Trigger settings are needed for the device to be able to determine the breath phases. So the device needs to be able to determine whether it's an inspiration or exhalation ongoing, and we do that through trigger settings. So for my application here, I'm just going to leave them on my default trigger settings, which are on the flow signal with a start trigger on a rising edge at 3 liters per minute and a stop trigger on the flow trigger on a falling edge at -3 liters per minute. As you can see, we have a nice graphical indication here of our trigger settings, which can be very helpful. I'm not going to go into details about the settings we just discussed. If you want to learn everything you need to know about all these settings, gas standard, gas type, and trigger settings, I highly recommend you to watch the recording of our TechNation webinar Wednesday educational session, Mastering Precision Gas Flow Analysis, Measurement and Ventilation Testing. We did that in May this year, and it's available on the TechNation website. I'm going to show a QR code with a link to this recording at the end of this session. All right, so when we are done with all our settings, let's go back to our main menu. And next up, we're going to connect a ventilator to the FlowAnalyser PRO so that we can have a look at some measurements. I'm going to switch my camera over here a little quick to show you my whole setup here. So as you can see, I have a ventilator over here, I have a test lung here, and I have my FlowAnalyser PRO. And to connect my ventilator to the FlowAnalyser is quite easy because, as I mentioned earlier, everything is being measured in this main flow channel. So I just connect my circuit system of the ventilator using this protection filter to protect the device from contamination to the input of my main flow channel. And at the back side, I've already connected a tube to my test lung. Now I'm going to start ventilation on my ventilator, so you can see the test lung inflating. And let's go back to our user interface. So let's have a look at some measurements. You can enter the measurement tile here, and that brings up all my measurements. The first page I see here is a screen where I can see a waveform up here and some numeric values below. And indicated with these four lines here, and the first one is now highlighted, indicates that we have 4 different screens here. So with a swipe to the left, I can access the next page. Here I just have a lot of different values I can see. On the third page, we can see 2 waveforms side by side. And on the last page, we have another page with numerical values, but some of them are larger in size. So when I click one of the tiles, one of the measurement tiles in any of the screens, I can also enlarge them. And when I do that, it brings up additional values at the bottom here. These are statistic values. So we can see a minimum, maximum, mean value, and also over how many breathing cycles that has been averaged for so far. I can also reset the statistics with this button here. So it now restarts at 1, and as you can see, it averages my measurements here over number of breathing cycles. When I do the same on one of my waveforms, so here's one of my waveforms. If I click this tile, it's gonna enlarge my waveform, and I can also do things like pause here, so that brings up a cursor, and then I can even measure here on the screen. So you can do some advanced waveform analysis right on the screen here. You can zoom in, zoom out, with gestures you are used to from your smartphone. The nice thing here is all these 4 measurement screens are fully customizable. So whatever you want to see here, you can set it up exactly as you want. If I press and hold one of the tiles, it brings up the edit mode. And now I can, for example, just drag and drop them to a different position. So I can arrange my tiles exactly as I want. Apply with this tick up here, and the change is done. If I enter the edit mode again and press this little pen symbol in the upper left corner of the tile, I can actually bring up the setting for this tile. And now I can say what I want to see in this tile. So there's a drop down here, and there's a list of 33 different parameters with the FlowAnalyser Pro that I can configure to each and every tile. So let's take peak pressure here a little quick. And additionally, in the lower left corner, you can see all the different measurement units I can select for this measurement. So here it's pressure. You can show it in millibar, but you're probably more familiar with centimeters of water pressure, so you can change that as well. And you can even change the color of the value. This may look a little bit of an overkill, but trust me, this is really helpful for visibility in some applications. So I could say, okay, I want to have this in red color here. Apply, exit edit mode, and now I have my peak pressure right there in this tile. So whatever you configure on all these different measurement screens, you can also save as profiles. So if you figured out all the settings for your device on the test, and you did all the screen customization to make it more convenient for you for your testing application, you can then save all that as a profile. If we go back to the main menu, there's a section called Profiles. And here I see my profiles, and with this plus button here, New Profile, I can create a new profile based on the current settings. I can also give it a name. It brings up a keyboard here. I'm just going to leave it here for now. I could also add a description and change the avatar, and then hit OK. And this is saved as profiles. And next time when I have the same application, I just come in here to the profiles and load my profile by clicking Apply and confirming with OK. So very easy to use. You can also see an export button here. So we can also export these profiles to a connected USB pen drive that I can connect to the back side of the device. And then you could share these profiles with other users of the FlowAnalyser Pro. All right. We can also do some advanced data recording here on the FlowAnalyser Pro. So let's go back to our measurements. And when I am in the measurement, in one of the measurement screens, up here in the corner, left upper corner of the screens, you see this hamburger stack button here. With that one, I can actually bring up the context menu for the measurements. And as you can see, here I have the first option to take data from the device called Data Snapshot. So if I click that one, it's going to take a snapshot of all my measurements. I can either name it if I want to, or I can just skip that, and it's just going to save it now. It says Data Snapshot number 7. If you want to see this, we can just go back to the main menu, and there is a tile called Data Snapshots. If I click that one, I can see all my snapshots, and my number 7 that I just took is on the top here. I can then view this as a report here on my screen. I can zoom in, zoom out. all the measurements with all the statistics like minimum, maximum, mean pressure, etc. are listed here. And I can also, if I go back and again open the context menu, you can see I can also export all these snapshots either as PDF file or as a CSV file if I want to further analyze that, for example, in Microsoft Excel. Additionally, we can also log with the device. So now what we did just now was a snapshot. That's just the actual measurements. But what if we want to log and trend some devices over time? So that's possible as well. If we go back into our context menu here in our measurement screens, you will see right below data snapshot, you can also see a button called start recording. If I hit that one, it brings up my settings for my recording. So first of all, I can set my recording interval. I can go back down to 20 milliseconds. So that means that's going to be the resolution of my measurements, so my sampling rate. And then I can set the duration here. Oops. Let's put it to, let's do 5 seconds here for this, or 5 seconds. And then I can, but you can record up to 24 hours on the device and then hit start. And now you can see it indicated up here. It's recording all the values over time into a CSV file that is being saved on a USB pen drive connected to the device. So this is very convenient. Afterwards, you can analyze this file, for example, in Microsoft Excel. It's just a CSV file that you can then get from the USB pen drive. All right, last but not least, for the measurements, we also have something called a statistics screen. You can see in the main menu, there's another tile called statistics. So maybe you remember earlier, each tile also has its statistics, but what if you want to see multiple measurement statistics at the same time? So this is actually the screen to do that. We can see there are 2 different pages. On the first one, we have all the raw measurements, like our flow, like our channel pressure, oxygen measurement, etc. And you can see all the values, minimum, maximum, and mean. You can also reset, and you can see this average is based on time. So it's now running, it's been running for a minute. You can reset with this button over here, with this refresh button. And on the second screen, we have all our breath-based parameters, like tidal volumes, rates, I/E ratio, etc. So you can see them, and these values are averaged over a certain amount of breathing cycles. That's why you can see the number there. Now it's 19 breaths counting up there. Of course, even this screen you can fully customize. You can drag and drop the lines here wherever you want. You can change the value you want to see. You can change the colors exactly the same way as we did in our measurement tiles. All right, as you can see, the FlowAnalyser Pro is very easy and intuitive to use and offers highest customization possibilities with the option to save all your settings as profiles. One unique feature of the FlowAnalyser Pro is its automatic trigger detection. As mentioned earlier, trigger settings are needed for the gas flow analyzer to be able to detect the breath phase in order to measure the breath-based parameters such as peak pressure, respiratory rate, or tidal volumes. In many applications, you will not really have to worry too much about trigger settings, as the default trigger settings are going to work well. Now I'm using default trigger settings right here, and as you can see, as you saw earlier, it works perfectly fine. However, there are applications, typically when testing BiPAP machine, where your default trigger settings are not going to work, and sometimes these trigger settings then that you find for these applications are also dependent on the actual ventilation settings. So in such applications, it can be very challenging and require expertise to find ideal trigger settings allowing accurate measurements. The FlowAnalyser Pro is able to detect and apply the most suitable trigger settings automatically by analyzing the flow and the pressure waveform in real time. So let me quickly show you how that works. Right now, in my current application with my Bella Vista ventilator I've connected here, you can see that with each inspiration, I have a positive flow through my FlowAnalyser, and with each exhalation, I have a negative flow through my FlowAnalyser. This is very typical in ventilator testing, and as you can see, the default trigger settings work well. I can measure all my parameters here. My ventilator is set to 12 breaths per minute, so that's good. My PEEP is 5, and this is all looking good. And you can see up here in the screen, there is a small TA flashing up with each start of a new breath cycle. So this indicates that the FlowAnalyser is able to trigger. So now let's change the application here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. First of all, I stop the ventilation real quick, and I'm going to change to a little bit of a different setup here. Going to disconnect my test lung here and connect a different circuit. So this is something you would typically see when you test BiPAP ventilators. So now I have a circuit system connected with a defined leakage here in front of the test lung. So this is very typical with BiPAP ventilators because they don't have an exhalation valve. So in such setups, you might see a defined leakage here at this right in front of the test lung. And when I start the ventilation now, you can probably also hear it. So the device, the BiPAP device applies 2 different pressure levels to the test lung, an upper and a lower pressure level. It's called IPAP and EPAP. And the volume that comes back from the test lung is actually no longer going back to our FlowAnalyser, but leaving here with this defined leakage. So if we have a look at our FlowAnalyser screen again, you will see that now there is no negative flow through the FlowAnalyser anymore. And you can see there is no triggering. Up here, earlier we saw this T flashing up. That's no longer happening. And also my rate is set to 12, and my IPAP and EPAP is like 17 and 5 here. So you can see these measurements are no longer accurate. The reason is because the device is now not triggering. So with all other gas flow analyzers on the market, we would now have to analyze the pressure and flow waveforms and see what suitable trigger settings for this application we can find. The FlowAnalyser PRO, however, can do that automatically for us. So when I go into my settings here and choose trigger settings, I can change my respiratory mode to automatic. And what that does is, after a little while, in my measurement screen, I will see it analyzed the flow and pressure waveform already. And now you can see it's triggering again. It's saying AT, that means automatic trigger. And you can see my measurements are actually back, and I can accurately measure my parameters here. So again, if you would like to learn more about trigger settings, then I would recommend that you watch the earlier mentioned TechNation webinar Wednesday education session. Again, I'm gonna share a QR code with a link to this recording at the end of this session. Okay, next up, let's stop the ventilation real quick. The next thing I want to show you is how you can use an application for the ultra low flow channel of the FlowAnalyser PRO. As already mentioned earlier, this ultra low flow channel has a measurement range of ±1 liter per minute and can be used to measure very low flow rates with highest accuracy. So one application for something like that is I have here a capnography sensor. So this sensor can be connected to our ventilator, and it has this little T piece here. And what it does, typically you have that in your circuit system in front of the patient, and then it samples a little flow here through this tiny line here, and pulls some of the gas mix in this sensor, and then measures the CO2. So let's see how we can measure that on our FlowAnalyser Pro. So what I'm going to do is disconnect here my ventilator, and because these are really, really low flow rates, I'm going to connect this to my ultra low flow channel here. And as you can see, I just have a plug here, so everything that is now going to happen on this very thin tube here is going to be measured by my ultra low flow channel. So let's get back to our user interface, and now let's switch back. So if I want to measure with this ultra low flow pressure, ultra low flow port, I'm going to use this direct access button right next to the port to bring up the measurements here. Of course, I could also go into my measurement screens and find the corresponding measurement, but this is a little shortcut here. So I can see now on the screen my ultra low flow and also the waveform next to it. So I don't have the sensor connected yet, but that's what I'm going to do next. So now you can see there is no flow at all. But if I connect this sensor to my ventilator, it's going to start sampling. And in just a little while, now you can see it is sampling with negative flow through my flow analyzer with about 50 milliliters per minute. So very, very low flow rates here. And I'm able to perfectly accurately measure these tiny little flow rates with the ultra low flow channel. I can also enlarge here and probably reset the statistics to see what range I am in. So it's between like 47 and 50 milliliters per minute. If I go back, I can also analyze the waveform here, and you can see it's not a steady flow. It's actually oscillating a little bit around very tiny flow range here. I can even analyze this curve, and this is actually how good the resolution is here. I can see this sampling frequency here right on the screen. So if you have applications where you need to measure flow rates in the milliliters per minute range, this is the perfect tool for you. Okay, next thing I want to do is take a closer look at one of the main USPs of the FlowAnalyser Pro, which is also available with our Citrix H5. It is integrated testing apps. So what we do here is we work with ventilator manufacturers and build a growing library of so-called testing applications. Testing apps guide you through the performance tests based on service manuals of the ventilator, take and interpret measurements automatically, and finally create a PDF test report that can then be downloaded from the device to be attached to a work order. This helps to make testing workflows more efficient and to eliminate the risks of measurement and transcription errors. So let me demonstrate that to you a little quick. On my FlowAnalyser Pro in the user interface, I'm going back to my main menu, and you can see there is one tile called Applications. If I enter that one, you can see there is a library of existing applications. So you might recognize some of these ventilators. So these are the testing apps we already have. But as mentioned earlier, this is a growing library. So we are adding more down the road, and that's going to be available for you through free software updates. So whenever we add a new one in the future, you're going to be able to update the software of your FlowAnalyser and get access to these new testing apps. So some of them are very long because it all depends on the ventilator manufacturer specification. But we have a very short one. It's called the Bella Vista Quick Verification. The Bella Vista is the ventilator I have on my desk here that I can demonstrate you here in full so that you can see how the concept works. So I'm going to open up this testing application, and the first thing that happens that you can't even see is the device is making all the correct settings in the background. So because we programmed this, we know what gas standard, for example, is being used by this ventilator, and we know what trigger settings work. So this is all being loaded for you automatically. And then it starts guiding me through the procedure. So in this case here, for my quick verification on the Bella Vista ventilator, it asks me to set up the device as shown in this picture here. I can also see that here. And the nice thing is, sometimes in service manuals, you just have pictures with a different gas flow analyzer, probably a different brand than the one you're using. And here you can see it exactly for the device that you have in use. So let me make that setup a little quick. So I'm gonna show you that on the camera as well. So I'm gonna disconnect this CPAP circuit system here and bring back my test lung. And first of all, I'm gonna connect the ventilator again to my main flow channel and my test lung to the back. So this is actually what I saw in the testing app for my setup. We have the ventilator circuit system through our flow analyzer and then to the test lung. You can see that in the app. So it shows you how to set it up. Then next here in this example, it's going to tell us how to set up our ventilator. So I can see the ventilator settings here. So I'm just double checking this. You can't see the ventilator right now, but I just checked this is what I have set up here. And then it asks me to start the ventilation. So I'm going to do that and hit next. And then when it comes to take measurements, again, this is exactly what the ventilator manufacturer specified and wants you to test. You don't have to go and find the corresponding measurements. It's all there, as you can see in a table. It shows you the measured value, and it also shows you the expected range, as well as a pass-fail result right on the screen. Some ventilators, even in their testing procedures, you even need to calculate the expected range because it's based on a measurement. In such cases, the software does that automatically for you because we have the measurement and we know the calculation. So the app already does that for you, shows you the expected range based on your actual measurements, and shows you the result right on the screen. If I click next here, it locks all these measurements in. And then sometimes it's also, you know that from annual preventive maintenance procedures and performance verifications, sometimes it's just testing something and then confirming that that happens. In this case, I'm asked to trigger a disconnection on my ventilator. I'm gonna do that little quick here. And then I should hear an alarm of my vent. So you can probably hear it in the background, it alarms. So I confirm, yes, that happens. Then it asks me to reconnect and the alarm should disappear. Yep, that happened. So I confirm here. Then I go next. In this verification here, it also asks me to unplug the mains power cord. And of course, the device should run from battery and trigger an alarm. That happened. Then I connect it back and it should recognize mains power. That happened as well. So I can confirm on the screen here that that happened. Then this can go on for many different pages. Again, it all depends on the service manual we are mirroring here. At the end of each application, usually also the manufacturer wants you to document some things. So here, for example, serial number, operating hours, etc. So we can just type here, there's a keyboard showing up. So we can, for example, enter the serial number of our device on the test. And then at the very end of each application, you can always add information about yourself and even add your signature here. And then all that is finalized in a report. So you have objective proof that you have tested it exactly as per the manufacturer specification. And you can see all the results and all the measurements are in here. These reports are then visible in the reports section, grouped by the apps. And I can view it here again if I want to, but more importantly, if I have a USB pen drive connected, I can also export these PDF files to a connected USB pen drive, and then of course you can attach them to your work order in the CMMS. So again, I want to re-emphasize that more testing apps are being made available with future software updates, and you can update the software of your FlowAnalyser Pro in the field. If you go to the main menu into About screen, we always provide the update package through our website. If you download that onto your USB pen drive, then you can trigger the software update in the About screen. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about anesthesia machine testing. But before we go ahead, please participate in another quick poll and let me know if you're already involved in anesthesia machines testing. So we're going to show the poll right now, and we'll give you a couple of seconds to answer before we share the results.
Thank you, Daniel. The poll is up and it asks, do you work on anesthesia machines? And you can select either yes or no. We have people putting in their answers right now.
All right.
And 47% said yes, they do. And 50% said no, 53% said no, they do not work on anesthesia machines.
All right.
So about
Thank you,
50-50.
All right, about 50-50, that's great. So yeah, that's good to see that at least some of you are already involved in anesthesia machine testing. And as mentioned earlier, we offer an optional accessory, which is our anesthetic gas analyzer. It's called OR703 multi-gas analyzer. So this is how it looks like. I have one here connected to my device. So this is a small little optical bench that can measure all the anesthetic gases concentration, as well as CO2 and N2O. If I want to use that one, I just connect it to the back side of the device. There is a RS-232 interface, and then I can, it's a mainstream sensor, so I can connect it just to my main flow channel, just like so, in front of my device. And then I connect my circuit with the gas flow right here. So this just goes in between the main flow channel and your circuit. And if I have an OR703 connected in my user interface, I can configure any tile I want to show the anesthetic gases. So for example, let's say I want to change this I to E ratio tile here and show one of my measured concentrations. I just press and hold, enter edit mode, change the value I want to see here, and if I scroll all the way down, you see all the anesthetic gases here. I can just pick one, and it's showing dashes now because I don't have anesthetic gases here. So, but that's actually how you can then easily just configure any of these measurements to your existing user interface. Right, so as you can see, the OR703 multi-gas analyzer is a very small and powerful tool to transform your FlowAnalyser Pro into a full-blown anesthesia machine testing solutions. And by the way, the same OR703 sensor can also be used on our FlowAnalyser PF300 series, as well as our mobile use gas flow analyzer, the Citrix H5. Okay, next up, I quickly want to show you our PC software called FlowLab. I'm not going to go too much into detail because that I could spend another webinar explaining all the features of that software, but just know there's a software available for download on our website for free for any Windows computer, and you can connect the FlowAnalyser Pro to that software. It's called FlowLab, and this is how it looks like. When I have FlowAnalyser connected, it's showing up on the right corner, top corner of the screen here. Just started the ventilation so that you can see some values. So here I can see this FlowAnalyzer is connected. I have different views. I have my panels where I see all my waveforms and some measurement values. Of course, here again, everything is fully configurable, so you can customize it exactly as you want. You can have multiple waveforms in one chart, things like that. You can analyze them on your screen. Then we also have all the numeric values visible. Again, here you can add and remove values as you like. We have possibility to trend up to 100 hours. So on the device itself, I mentioned earlier, it's up to 24 hours. Here we can trend up to 100 hours even. And we also have reports, so all the measurements can go into reports. You can even customize your own logo in here. And we have the possibility to create something we call test sequences. So imagine this is kind of an editor for something similar that we have seen with the testing apps before. So you can create your own test sequences and share them with others, but they don't run on the device, they run actually in this FlowLab software. So it's a very powerful tool, and of course, it gives you the possibility to create reports with all the measurements as well. So this was just a quick overview of FlowLab. Again, this is for free and can be downloaded from our website. So last but not least, let's talk about a very important topic. It's calibration. So as gas flow analyzers are used to test and calibrate life supporting equipment, it's crucial that we service and calibrate them once a year as well. So the FlowAnalyser PRO is going to remind you with a message on the screen when it's due for calibration. Of course, you can then still continue to use the device, but it's then recommended to send it in for a calibration. As you may already have heard, we now have an own service center with a calibration lab in St. Petersburg in Florida. And we make it very easy for our customers to send their device for service and calibration. We do that with our so-called EasyCal calibration service. So that's an online service. And if you go to our website, you will find a section called calibration.
Daniel, I can't hear you right now. Everybody hang on real quick while we're waiting for Daniel to get his audio back. I do want to mention that there are some great handouts that you can download and have. Those are in the control panel under the handout section. There's a FlowAnalyser PRO brochure. There's a multi-gas analyzer brochure and a test lung brochure. So you can go on there and check those out and have that information. Still waiting on Daniel to reconnect his audio. I'm not sure what happened. Technical difficulties. We're all familiar with troubleshooting, so I'm sure that's what he's doing right now to try to get back to us. Hi, Daniel, did you say something? I'm still not hearing you there. I do want to go ahead and let everyone know that today's trivia question winner was Sam Ghanem in California. Sam, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. The correct answer of the trivia question is New York City. Looks like we're still waiting to get Daniel back. If anybody else can hear Daniel, if you'll let me know by telling me in the questions feature or in the chat feature, you can chat. I am not hearing him.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, now I got you. Yes, Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what happened, but now you can hear me again, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So now I just had to change forth and back with the microphone a couple of times. Now it looks like it's stable again. Yeah, so we left off. I think probably you heard that we have a EasyCal calibration service. So on our website, you can create an RMA. So you can enter your serial number, select the services you want us to perform. Then enter your pickup and return address, and sometimes you may have a different bill to address, so you can do that here as well. And on the next page, then you can let us know how you want to handle the shipment. So you can either use your own carrier, or you can use our FedEx account. And if you choose to use our FedEx account, then it's also going to give you rates right here on the screen based on your pickup address. So you can then select from the different services from ground up to overnight. And then we're going to just invoice you for this additional freight charges. The nice thing if you use our forwarder is that the system is even going to create the labels for you and trigger a pickup with FedEx. On the last page, you can then see a full summary and breakdown of the costs involved based on your selections, and then you can actually place the order here. All right. So, yeah, and by the way, our lab is also fully ISO 17025 accredited, ensuring your calibration service is being performed at the highest quality standards. Okay, so sorry about the issue with the microphone. That actually wraps up what I wanted to show you today about our FlowAnalyser PRO, our most accurate, versatile, and easy to use benchtop gas flow analyzer. So if you're looking for the ultimate all-in-one testing solution, please let us know. We also have demo units we can offer you to send out so that you can try it in your specific application. So I'm just gonna share my contact details here. So if you wanna contact us, here's the email address and also my phone number. And also, as already mentioned, I added the 2 QR codes here I mentioned earlier in this session. The left one is for the education session we held in a webinar Wednesday. It tells you all about the settings with triggers, with gas standard and things like that. I would really recommend you to watch that if you haven't already checked that one out. And on the right side, this is the tools of the trade we did last year about our mobile use gas flow analyzer, the Citrix H5.
Thank you, Daniel.
Right.
While the attendees are checking that out and scanning those QR codes, I want to go ahead and ask, we have time for one question that came in, and it is IMT thinking about adding Bluetooth and Wi-Fi?
Yep. Oh, I like the question. Thank you so much. Yep. We already have that capability. So Wi-Fi is already built in with our mobile use gas flow analyzer, the Citrix H5. And we do have dongles available that we can connect to our USB ports that enable Bluetooth connection.
Fantastic. And so we're going to wrap things up now. We will email you all the other questions we received so you can answer those via email. We're just running short on time. A quick reminder that you can obtain your CE certificate by completing the post-webinar survey. The survey will be emailed in 1 hour. You must complete the survey to receive your 1 CE credit from the ACI. And you will be able to download that certificate directly from your computer once the survey is submitted. If you have any questions, you can reach us through email at webinar@mdpublishing.com. Also, I want to mention that registration for our imaging conference in San Antonio, Texas is now open. You can find all the details at attendice.com. And as always, you can email me, JWALLACE, at mdpublishing.com. That's jwallace@mdpublishing.com. You can email me all of your nominations for Professional of the Month or Department of the Month so we can spotlight those biomeds who sometimes don't get the credit we think they deserve. Thank you again for your attention today. Thank you for a great presentation, Daniel, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.